Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Coffee and Crypto Live. I am your host, Tim, and it is going to be a good show today. I don't know if you guys have been looking at charts or CoinMarketCap or whatever you're checking out, but Ethereum and Cardano are both flashing some bullish signs, and they have very big updates coming here within the next couple of weeks, probably Ethereum next week and Cardano the following week. And this is going to be really exciting. We're going to be discussing that throughout the show, not only talking about it in the market pulse as well as TA alongside Frankie Candles coming on the show, but we're going to discuss that a little bit later as well. Will this be a sell the news, or will we see those bullish signs continue? There's a couple things, I don't know if any of you guys know, that you're going to want to stick around and find out about those two projects. By the way, also, just in case we don't discuss them anywhere else in the show, how about Ergos and Ethereum Classic? We've talked about these before. Both projects probably benefiting from the move of proof of work to proof of stake by Ethereum, and so maybe miners picking up some change. We told you our take on Ethereum Classic, probably going to have some bullish action with miners, but long term we don't know where that'll go. But Ergos, a very interesting project we discussed last week with Dan from Crypto Capital Venture, definitely a project that everyone on the coffee and crypto community is going to want to start paying attention to, because it could have some big things down the road. It's up like 70% within the last couple of days. So I don't know if you guys bought Ergo the other day when Dan said to. That wasn't financial advice, but it darn well should have been, because you would have made some money that people have not been making in crypto anytime recently. But that being said, we're going to discuss all of that stuff and more. Make sure, go ahead and smash that like button. We got almost 200 people watching already, and you guys only got about 50 likes or so. We can get that way higher. Go ahead, if you're new here, subscribe to the channel. I'm going to throw it over to my two co-hosts. I got TShroom to my right over here in blue.
Aloha. This is purple.
That's purple?
It is.
Am I Jebb now? I'm colorblind?
Uh-oh.
Gosh, what's wrong with me? All right, I also got Smay over here sitting today instead of standing, so you get a different angle.
Hello. Oh, it looks pretty much the same. So
That's true.
You can see the chair. So.
Yeah. How are you guys doing this morning, though? You guys feeling good about yourselves?
Yeah, feeling great.
You guys feel good about your how's your crypto holdings going, Smay?
They're going.
They're going. How's your DCA strategy going? Okay, very good, very good, very good, very good. Well, guys, we're going to be jumping into a lot here in just a second, but make sure, go ahead, grab your coffee if you haven't already. We'll give you a little bit of time. Smay's going to do one of our favorite things we ever do, because this show would not be around if it wasn't for our members and our community, and we're going to read ourselves some green names, the people that make up that community. Smay, take it away.
I'm going to take it away. I'm not going to give it back.
Dang.
Of course I'm going to give it back. All right, so Elliot Locke, GS, Jojo, Greg Jenkins, Kasha Katz, Agent Gold, Crypto Ben Franklin, Sean Burns Jr., Kevin Grims, Elliot Locke, Greg Jenkins, Matt C., Kasha Katz, Greg Jenkins, Elliot Locke, Brad Geidel, Greg Jenkins, Mitch Shaw, Adam Rourke, Kevin Grims, Matt C., Kasha Katz, Dr. Fuzzy Eyeball, Greg Jenkins, back to you. Oh, and oh no.
What happened?
My favorite member is
He's
no longer
a
name.
member. Oh, that's sad.
I'm
That
sorry.
is
I
sad.
cannot read your name. I'm sorry, my friend. Just kidding. D's nuts and go CJC. All right, back to you, Tim.
You know, also want to shout out Tyler Main. He said, I'm not green anymore, but I'm still faithfully here. That is completely okay. Just so you guys know, those green names are all of our YouTube members who support us. Even if you don't do that, we still love having each and every single one of you guys here every single day. And like I said before, we wouldn't be doing this without you guys. Of course, our channel went through a big transition here a couple of weeks ago. And the reason why we did that transition was because despite the fact that Jebb was going other places, we knew this community was still building and growing and doing amazing things, so we kept it going. As Jebb always said, this was a we thing, not an I thing. So give you guys a little pat on the back. Even if you don't have a green name, give yourself a pat on the back. And if you're new here, again, join the up-and-coming greatest crypto community ever. Not just YouTube. I mean, even though we mostly are here on YouTube, it is the greatest of all time anywhere, the most encouraging, uplifting, and helpful group out there. If you guys agree with that, go ahead and smash that like. Let me know in chat if you agree. I'm about to throw it over to TShroom for our market pulse. But our market pulse today is brought to you guys by Anthony Price. A lot of you guys have heard about him already, so I'm going to keep this nice and quick. In case you haven't, he is our CPA that helps us with crypto taxes. Yep, that's right, taxes. They suck. No one likes them. You don't want to give Uncle Sam any more money than you have to, but crypto's a really crazy space, and the IRS is going to start cracking down on it this year. So you don't want to be wrong on your crypto taxes. If you wonder what is happening, give him a call. Anthony Price will give a free 15-minute call with you, and he only takes you as a client if he knows he will save you and make you as much profit as possible. If he doesn't think he'll make you money, then he doesn't take you as a client. That's the kind of guy he is. Give him a call. Link in the description down below. With that being said, though, we're throwing over to TShroom for our market pulse.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening to the sultry sound of my voice, you are in the market pulse, baby. Let's do it. Let's get it. Smay, if you'll go over to my screen, the Fear and Greed Index is clocking in at 22, just a tick more fearful than yesterday, and much more fearful than last month, about 7 points more fearful, and 8 points. And it's it's a buy the fear, sell the greed kind of market that we're in. So if I'm you, I'm not discouraged by this. I'm still seeing crypto at a discount, Bitcoin specifically, as the Fear and Greed Index is mostly measuring Bitcoin. Gonna skip over the CME futures, but I'll just check in with it. 71%, 75 basis points. If you know what that is, great. If you don't, tune into one of our other shows. We'll explain it more thoroughly. But we got a thick market pulse today. All right, we just got this the ISM non-manufacturing PMI numbers. For those of you who know what that is, basically you want this number here that just printed 56.9. You want that to be above 50. It shows an expansion in basically United States manufacturing. Any number below 50 is showing a contraction. So this is good, but it's not great. The 56 is not great. That's just barely passing. So we want to see that higher. Historically, as you can see here, it's been around 61, even when as high as 69. Obviously, those were some anomalies there. But yeah, moving on to the stories of the market pulse, we've got some very interesting tales to tell. Folks, the biggest story in the news right now is that Bellatrix upgrade goes live and sets stage for the Ethereum merge. So very, 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 very encouraging and optimistic here. The Bellatrix upgrade was activated on epoch 144,896 on the Beacon chain and is now live. The Paris upgrade is next, and once activated, it will complete the Ethereum network's transition to proof-of-stake system. Earlier in the day, Ethereum co-founder Vitalik Buterin announced on Twitter that the merge will be triggered between September 13th to September 15th. So narrowing down that range that the merge is going to be happening is very, very helpful for the crypto community. Big thanks to Vitalik. Tim, what do you think about that?
Well, I had a question for you. I don't know if that article goes in detail. So that update went live. Mm-hmm. Are we waiting for a confirmation? Like, is today the day we get confirmation, or we had confirmation there were no bugs in that update whatsoever? That's
a good question. Let's see if what I've highlighted has answered that question. So going back to my screen, once the execution layer reaches or exceeds the specific total difficulty threshold, called the TTD, the second and final phase of the merge will be triggered in what is called the Paris event. The Paris upgrade will mark the end of the proof of work mining on the Ethereum blockchain and the successful completion of the merge. So that doesn't seem to answer your question completely, but I don't believe there was any bugs. I haven't seen anything to the effect that there were bugs, so I'm going to assume that they had prepared, pretty thoroughly for this, and that there wasn't any kind of major mishap. But the big news is that it's coming out that the 13th through the 15th is now confirmed. Vitalik, that's his best estimation of when this when the proof of stake is going to reign supreme, and proof of work will no longer be a thing.
That's the only reason I asked that is because the only thing at this point that will stop that September 13th to 15th that TShroom just talked about would be if for some reason a bug is developed. I mean, I agree with you. I don't think there's any thought that there's going to be one. It's just the if-then statement we got to make. Right. If there is no bug, then we should be launching the 13th or 15th. That's what Vitalik's been very open about. So I don't know if officially they can say, but I think we'll know by the end of the day if that 13th to 15th is the official date.
Right. It's a good point. Well, this has been the primary action that has now led to a lot of different things, and I want to go into those things that have happened as a result of this being presumptively successful merge. So let's go into that. So first of all, you've got a new altcoin in the top 100. It may have been in there before, but not to my knowledge. Rising Star Flux enters the top 100 following 130% gains over the past month. So running counter to the market. There you can see its chart. I'm not going to be going into this too detailed. Basically, the gist is this is a proof of work chain. And so if you've invested potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars in miners or any amount of money that you've deemed significant, you're going to want to keep using those miners or you're going to want to sell them off. I'm going to get to that in a second. But first off, this is why proof of work chains are not going away, because all these miners are out there existing and they want to mine. They want an ROI on those miners. So this is just one of them, and now it's boosted at 130% in the last month, Flux, and now it's in the top 100 according to CoinMarketCap. So also in that same vein, other secondary actions is that Ethereum Classic is up 16%. It was up 28% this morning. And why? Because it's proof of work, and people want to mine it. People want to mine. Miners are going to mine, and they want to do that. Same thing with Ergo here, up 17%. You look at the monthly chart. This thing is just shooting up like a rocket to the moon. Okay, all right. Well, moving along. Also, look at these miners. They're selling off. The HP NVIDIA Quadro P400 is down 71%. This is in euros because this is a European GPO tracker. But you can see this one's down 54%. These are all, I don't know if these are state-of-the-art, but they're pretty darn close. I don't see any ones that I'm super familiar with on here. Let's see if I can find. Yeah, there's a 380. That's a metric I'm familiar with. A 380 that's down 43%. So they're selling off, folks. If you're a gamer out there and you want to get back into high 4K, high frame rate gaming, which I very much do, and I'm actually licking my lips at these prices, this might be an encouraging time for you. It's also, and I'm going to be completely transparent with you guys, I sold off my NVIDIA stock today because of this. I don't think that NVIDIA is going to do well over the next couple quarters going into 2023 because these chips are going to flood the market. People who don't decide to go mine Ergo or Ethereum Classic or Flex, they're going to go Flux. They're going to just sell their miners, and it's going to flood the market, bring those price of the miners down. I'm going to scoop some up, but I'm also going to sell companies like NVIDIA. I'm going to sell companies like AMD that make these chips because I don't think that they're going to be in such high demand anymore. Tim, what do you think about that?
I don't know. I've never been a gamer, and I'm not a miner. Were you saying when you were looking at those, is your thought that those are Ethereum miners selling their equipment?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, you can make an argument that even Bitcoin miners are. I mean, we've been watching on-chain metrics. Bitcoin miners have been selling at a weird time. They usually sell at tops, but they're struggling to pay bills. I wonder how many Bitcoin miners are closing up shop and saying we can't even continue to operate, which of course will be very beneficial for the ones that stick around and are really powerful and they just weather the storm. But that's good clarification, I think, that these are Ethereum miners. The question, though, that I have, my only thought is how many of those miners are going to be moving over, at least temporary, to ETH Classic, which does allow them to keep mining and make some money. But then the other one, and I want to do more research on the fundamentals, but my good friend Dan got me looking at Ergo, and I'm keeping my eye on what's happening over there because I think it's one of those coins. If you're watching the price here, let me actually give me a second, Smay, before you go to my screen. But I'm gonna pull it up and show you guys what the price. That is not what I wanted right there. Give me just a second. I looked up something completely different. Why am I not finding this token?
Yeah, no, it's definitely the ETH merge anticipation, and it's close to certainty now that it's going to happen. That's why these miners are selling off. That's why you're seeing these GPU prices shooting down. Yeah, I don't think it has anything to do with Bitcoin at this time. I mean, if it does,
I would be surprised.
There are decisions that have been made long ago. But here's the situation, guys. There's a lot of people who are in the money. Like they have already fully broke even on their initial investment into the GPUs that they use to mine, and so they have all the incentive to just sell the GPUs at this higher price, presumably. Theoretically, some of these guys actually bought these GPUs back in the day when mining wasn't really super popular and when they were selling for MSRP. And now they're able to sell them still for a multiple. So they would have every incentive to just do that if they don't anticipate the ROI that they desire being available in the future. So that's probably what I would do. But at the same time, I want to buy like a 380, a 3080, a 3090. Just to build a PC because I've never been able to do that because the prices have been too darn high. But Tim, were you able to find what you're looking for?
Yeah, I was. Yeah, so if you guys are going to go to my screen now, Smay. So ever since we had the announcement, so back here, July 13th, this is when everything started going crazy. It didn't go crazy up until about 10th of August, but let's just start even right here. Ergo at the moment, since the announcement, is up 237% since the announcement of the date for ETH 2.0. Again, it took all the way until about the 10th of August before the momentum really started. So if you went to that date, since then, when it was sitting around $2.03, it looks like it's up 163. Had a parabolic run here, kind of moved sideways, parabolic again. This is one of those projects I want to start. We're not going to do TA on it right now. I'll probably do TA on this later in a different video or maybe in a future show. These are the types of runs, though, that people come in at the tail end and end up buying the top. So do your due diligence, continue to do your own research, continue to look at the fundamentals, continue to watch how many miners are moving away from Ethereum and coming in there. But there is, it is on a little special run. And anyone who was in on Ergo back on July 13th, if they have held to this point, are very, very happy. The question is how much longer and how much further the upside it has to go. Do we have more hype coming to space, or will we see it start to cool off?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're going to switch gears pretty heavily here, somewhat out of the crypto world, but this is something that involves one of our faves, and that is, back to my screen, Elon Musk says 90% of Twitter comments are bots. Binance CEO CZ agrees. Now, I didn't actually find the place where CZ agrees in this article. He might have, but let's look into it. So Tesla CEO, you may have heard of him, Elon Musk, said yesterday that 90% of his comments are bots on his Twitter posts, sharing a screenshot of various fake accounts of Binance's boss, CZ, replying to Musk. And we'll just go straight to that tweet, which is actually kind of funny and a little bit very topical. If you log into like Amazon Prime, the streaming service, it like the intro screen, the splash screen is the Lord of the Rings promo, so it's kind of funny. But Tolkien is turning in his grave, says Elon Musk. Almost every male character so far is a coward, a jerk, or both. Only Galadriel is brave, smart, and nice. And I want to get Smay's take on this in just a second, the actual content of this. But then if you look, this is where Elon is saying that 90% of the comments on this tweet are bots, and then they're all CZ bots saying different things. Why is everybody silent on this? A YouTube link. This is a good for the community. So they're just bots, and Elon's pointing this out, which kind of leads you to believe, what is going to happen with this Twitter merger or this Twitter acquisition that Elon is trying to pull off. And it's gone super stale. People are actually forgetting about it. They don't even care anymore that Elon was trying to buy Twitter. But hey, Smay, what did you think about Elon's comments here on Lord of the Rings? I know we're big fans.
To be honest with you, I think the show is great, and I think that he's. I don't agree with his take. That's all I have to know.
Did you know that it has a 1-star rating on Amazon Prime? Like, I watched it too. I like it, but Amazon does not like it. I don't know. The raters do not like it. It has a 1-star rating.
I think it's a little sad that people are getting that upset about it. But
that's weird.
I think it's a good show. So
Yeah.
that's all I'm gonna say.
Let us know in chat. I want to hear what the chat thinks. If you guys have been watching The Lord of the Rings, The Power of the Ring.
Rings of Power.
Rings of Power. Power
Come
of
on,
the Rings.
dude.
Hey, listen, I'm a fan of watching the show. I don't memorize the titles, everything. Let us know what you guys think of the show. Again, because there's mixed results, and the people that get to decide the ratings don't like it. But I thought it's a good show.
It's a good show.
Elon doesn't like
The
it.
expectations were too high, is what I think.
Yeah, I liked it, but I'm so captivated by any kind of entertainment media. I just like watching. I'm just like always like, wow, this is awesome for like so many things that people think are cringy. So moving along. I'm not only going to read the headline here because it gets super technical, but Cardano ecosystem gears up for Vasil upgrade, exchanges and projects confirm readiness. So basically they're getting a lot of the thumbs up from a development standpoint that they need, Cardano is, and it looks like they're ready to do this, hopefully by the end of September. It looks like they were having some issues with some of the nodes not converting over, but I'm sure that they'll get that sorted out sooner rather than later. And here we go. We've got a fun story here to close off the market pulse, and then we're going to get into our question of the day. And that fun article is Golden State Warriors co-owner to start fantasy sports style NFT gaming. This is just what you were hoping for, right? Well, Nick Swarum is entering the non-fungible token space game with Play Helibor. a fantasy sports style platform that lets users predict the outcome of professional sports games for blockchain-based prizes. How fun. I know Tim's over there licking his lips because he's a super big sports fan. But users start by purchasing a Cyber NFT for 0.03 ETH, around $50, so pretty affordable, which grants them access to the site. From there, they can form leagues and play head-to-head matchups to win NFT prizes, merch, and unique fan engagements experiences, according to a press release. The mint for Play Hellebore opens Tuesday, so today, with the first sports users can predict outcomes of baseball, football, and soccer. The company plans to add hockey, tennis, golf, and basketball integrations later next year, according to their website. So you can see those NFTs right there. They're looking grumpy, and they're ready for you to come play ball. That's going to conclude our That's going to conclude our market pulse. And let's go ahead and get on into the question of the day. And before I do that, I just want to confirm that Smay has left my screen. Smay, have you left my screen?
I have left your screen.
Okay, do not go to my screen right now. But I do have that question of the day for you guys. And that question is, would you rather hear a comforting lie or an uncomfortable truth? So I'm going to go ahead and throw it over to Tim today first.
Tim.
A comfortable lie or an uncomfortable truth?
That's right. Comforting lie.
It's pretty easy. I'm notorious for, like, the way I grew up, I grew way more from criticism than I grew from pats on the back. So when I played sports and stuff, I always hated the coaches who would just tell, like, after a fumble or something, "Oh, good job, Tim." I love the coach that pull me aside and be like, "What's your problem? Like, what you're doing is you're releasing the ball." I love criticism. So I love truth, even if it's uncomfortable, even if it's not fun. I grow more from failing than I do from succeeding in everything, or thinking I'm succeeding in everything, but in all reality, I'm failing. So pretty easy for me. That's give me the uncomfortable truth.
Smay, what are you thinking? You want us to lie to you?
Yeah. Lie to me, baby.
Yeah, Smay's a lie. He wants to lie.
He wants to lie.
He wants the feel good.
No, I'm kidding. I actually mine is for sure the truth. Yeah. Because like the fact is what like the lie is gonna go away eventually, and then you're gonna feel worse than if you just got the truth.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's potentially true. I think I'm going to answer this question through the lens of the Federal Reserve.
Through the lens of the Federal
I want them to lie to me. I want them to tell me it's all going to be okay.
Oh, my goodness.
Because that's going to help my equities, right? My holdings in the stock market, in the crypto. But hey, it's all in a day's work. Let's see what's going on in the chat. Let's see what they're saying about this awesome
Everyone
question.
said truth. It's pretty
Yeah, it is
Everyone
pretty
said
overwhelmingly truth.
Nobody wants a comforting lie.
No.
See, no one wants to lie about the fact that they want to be lied to.
Everybody wants to lie about it.
And, let's bring on Frankie Candles, by the way. We're about to jump into our TA with Frankie. Can't wait to hear his take. But first of all, Frankie, how are you doing today on this glorious Tuesday, September 6th?
What is going on, Tim? Thank you for having me on again. Super pumped to be here, and I will answer that question. I will take uncomfortable truths. I'd have to agree with you. Give me the criticism. I mean, how are you going to grow without criticism?
That's right.
It's true, and it's one of those things. Like I said, I'm glad everyone answered truth. I will tell you from personal experience of interacting with people, not everybody likes to hear the truth. Hopefully, everybody in our chat likes to hear the truth. Everybody in this room hopefully likes to hear truth, but. It's always nice to hear truth until it gets uncomfortable and it's in your face, and some people just don't really like that. So it was an interesting question. Even though overwhelmingly the answer went one way, TShroom, it was an interesting question that I think is a better thing to think about introspectively than even answering out loud. Because, of course, everyone's going to say truth. But then now you have to wonder, like, wow, do I actually like truth? Like, do I actually handle when people tell me straight to my face what's happening?
Well, handling it is different because it's defined as uncomfortable. So no matter what, you're going to be uncomfortable with it.
I think what you just told me, Tim, is an uncomfortable truth. I wish you would have just lied to me and said I did a great job with the question of the day.
How do you know I didn't?
Ooh. Tricky.
Well, we're going to go jump on Frankie. Thank you so much, man, for joining us. I got some questions for you. So, obviously, we're going to talk about Bitcoin a little bit because we got to talk about Bitcoin TA while we're looking at all of the crypto space to know what's happening. But there's some other charts I want to get your take on, and that would be, first of all, this Ethereum and Cardano. I know they're falling a little bit this morning because the Dixie is rising, but Ethereum and Cardano are flashing some green signals, some buying signals as we get closer to these merges. I want to get your take on that as you're looking at the charts and you're entering into trade opportunities. What are you seeing yourself? I know you use a lot of Market Cypher and other tools. Go ahead and let's look at your charts and see what your take is on those coins.
Yeah, for sure. Let me go ahead and share my screen here. And, like you said, yeah, it's been interesting even just recently, seeing how ETH has really been kind of leading things here. But back to what you were saying about flashing buy signals, I am actually seeing some stuff on Market Cipher B, and that is going to be right here on the weekly chart. Now, as you guys know, at least when I look at Market Cipher, when I see signals pop up on the weekly chart, I take these very seriously. Now, they do sometimes take some time to play out. So sometimes you see these signals and then you might get a pump or a dump, or something might happen on the lower time frames that kind of contradicts the signal. But more often than not, if you let these weekly signals, you give them some time to play out, typically they do play out in a really big way. And here on the weekly for Ethereum, you can see right down here, we are now starting to print a green dot here on the weekly time frame as the VWAP has crossed back over the zero line. And on top of that, we also do have the money flow coming back up as well. So this, if confirmed, I would consider a pretty good or a pretty decent bullish signal. Now you can see, obviously, the last time we did get one of these green dots on Market Cipher B, we did get a double green dot right here. We did get a move up. Now, this is a little bit different. We do have the momentum coming up as well here. So we were very oversold here, and now we are not. So we could see the momentum move to the upside a little bit here. You can see even this green dot down here was not, this momentum wave did not come into the oversold area, but we did get that green dot, and we did get a decent move to the upside. Now, like I said, this last one gave us a 44% move. And then this double green dot right here gave us about, give or take a little bit, almost about 100% move up. So these are definitely very, very strong signals. And if confirmed, I do think this can give us a decent move up. And I just want to come down to the lower time frame as well for Ethereum. Last night in my Discord, I was actually pointing at this point of control right here coming in at about 1622. And we were just starting to creep over it. And I was, letting everybody in the Discord know, listen, if we flip this to support, we could continue to move higher, potentially targeting this value area high at about 1741. Now, as you can see, this trend has broken a bit as we come down to potentially test this POC again. But I did just want to bring that up because I've been talking about volume profiles. Tim, I don't know if you use a lot of volume profiles. We probably talked about it at some point, maybe on my show. But this is why I love volume profiles, because you could it gives you these key areas of support and resistance, and also allows you to kind of it gives you an idea of what to expect if you break above or below a level. But as far as Ethereum, I would go ahead and agree with you. This weekly buy signal on Market Cipher B would be very bullish, in my opinion. Now, one thing you also don't want to ignore here, because my general bias right now would be leaning a little bit bearish, but I would say cautiously. A lot of times people say cautiously optimistic. I would say I'm cautiously pessimistic right now. So I am leaning a little bit bearish, and I'll show you a reason why in just a minute, or multiple reasons why in a minute. But you also want to see and notice that we do have a blood diamond confirmed on the 6th day. So that is a little bit conflicting to me, but I will say I do have to agree with you. This weekly buy signal, if confirmed, definitely could be some good news with Ethereum, especially with the merge getting so close.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you're one of the ones that follows news and stuff alongside me. A lot of people that do technical analysis, they just do technical analysis, or people that do sentiment analysis, they just do sentiment analysis. What's really conflicting, and I've talked about this with Ethereum, is while there still are some things on the charts that are maybe not exactly what we would love to see to go bullish, we also have to factor in the fundamental update that's about to happen on ETH when it comes to that supply. And I've been talking about this pretty much daily on this channel, that we really don't know what to expect. But historically, when other projects have this drastic of a supply drop to the daily rewards, you see the price begin to accumulate, because we're so used to, when we're looking at these charts, what we're pricing in and we're looking at is when the demand is rising and dropping, because we have that constant supply coming out. Rarely do we get to watch the supply dip, but this is what happens, like, for example, when we see the Bitcoin halvings, and the price always goes up when Bitcoin's supply gets cut in half. My thought right here is, despite the fact that demand of Ethereum might slightly drop alongside Bitcoin as we're watching Bitcoin start to move in one direction, but the question I have for you, maybe you can answer, and maybe the charts don't even really help you answer it, you're just gonna have to give your opinion. Do you think that 90% drop in supply is gonna give us an uptick in price, despite the fact that maybe the demand continues to drop alongside Bitcoin?
Yeah, I would have to agree with that, right? Because it's simple supply and demand here. Let me just share my camera one more time. There we go. What happened? Okay. I don't want to waste too much time with this. My dashboard went away, so I can't get my camera back up. But yeah, I would have to agree with you there. And I can actually, I want to show you just one real quick thing on the chart. But I would agree. Listen, that's simple supply and demand. Supply goes down, demand goes up. The price is going to increase. That's a lot of people always ask me, that aren't into crypto, what's with the 4-year cycles? How can you predict that the price is going to go up like this? And it's simple supply and demand, because every halving, obviously, it gets harder to mine a block, and that, it will increase the price, obviously, just due to the simple fact of supply and demand. So it seems, like magic to people who are not in crypto, but it's actually a very simple, it's a very simple concept. So I would definitely have to agree with you there. And maybe this is where we start to see, kind of, in my opinion, what we're already starting to see is that people are starting to go to Ethereum and leave Bitcoin behind. We've been seeing Ethereum leave this market, and you could even see it now with Bitcoin showing a lot more bearish. Bitcoin really has not been doing much. If I just go ahead and hide, let me just hide all these drawings here, you can see that we have just been stuck right here, essentially, with what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, like 9 or 10 days of just straight sideways action, where that's not necessarily what you're seeing with Ethereum. You're seeing Ethereum, it moves a lot more. It's been leading in the bullish signals and the bearish signals. Obviously, Ethereum's daily chart looks much different than Bitcoin. So this is kind of showing me that people are starting to get more interested in Ethereum and starting to potentially be leaving Bitcoin behind. And I actually have a question for you, Tim. Where do you stand on Ethereum eventually at some point flipping Bitcoin?
That is what we've been talking about on our channel now, where I'm really torn, Frankie. I don't know. Like the concept still seems like, hey, it's too far away. Like, let's talk about date first of all. I'll regroup my answer. The date of that happening is still a long way off. I think some people are acting like it's going to happen here in 2023. I don't think it'll happen in 2023. I don't know if it'll happen in 2024. I don't know how long before we even get a chance of that happening. But what we're seeing happen with this transition, if the demand stays constant and if the demand continues to rise the way it should and it doesn't lose too much control to other projects coming up that do similar things, then potentially I do think Ethereum has a good chance to flip Bitcoin. And I don't think that's even necessarily a bad thing. I think people sometimes forget that the crypto world has a very vast amount of a possibility of what it can accomplish, whereas Bitcoin is a store of value, and it is the greatest thing we've ever seen on the planet of being a store of value. Ethereum, while it can operate that way, has many other functions as well. So it's not a perfect metaphor, but a lot of people who want to compare Ethereum and Bitcoin, that's like comparing phones to cars. Like, there's going to be seasons where cars are selling more frequently than phones, and there's going to be seasons where phones are selling more frequently than cars. The demand will continue to change. What I'm seeing, though, with the fundamentals of Ethereum and the use case of Ethereum, I don't think it's beyond the realm of possibility that it happens. But here's the other thing then, is everyone talks about the ETH over Bitcoin flip, and let's suppose that happens. Could there then down the road, when it's needed, be a Bitcoin flip again where Bitcoin flips Ethereum? I think we're looking at two ridiculously strong cryptos that people act like if one does well, the other has to die, and that's just not the truth. They both are going to be very, very, very useful for our planet down the road. TShroom, I want to get your take, the same question.
Yeah, go to my screen really quick, Smay. So I looked up the market cap of the United States dollar, and I looked up the market cap of the global technology industry worldwide. So I'll start with the tech. Tech is 5.2 trillion, and the USD is 40 trillion. So what you can leave my screen. So what I would conclude from that is essentially that currency market cap is always going to outpace industry market cap. I always probably isn't the right word to use there. Who knows? I certainly don't. But I think Bitcoin as a currency, really, that's its main utility in a lot of ways. It's emerging that there's a lot of other utilities in terms of energy transfer and stuff like that. But I think if Bitcoin continues on the trajectory of branding itself continually as a currency, I think it will outpace Ethereum in the long term by like 10, 30 years. If you can consider that long term, we're talking about new currencies here, but I would equate Ethereum to tech, the tech industry. You could theoretically imagine a world where all tech is subsumed by blockchain technology, and Ethereum continues to outpace all of the other altcoins that are on its tail. then I would say even if the best case scenario worked out for Ethereum, it still would not be at competing with Bitcoin in the same way. So that's my take.
You know, I'm going to throw it back to Frankie in a second, but even continuing the conversation you and I had yesterday, TShroom, about the ESG factor as well, that potentially Ethereum is going to have a little bit of an edge over Bitcoin at sufficing and helping people who are worried about the ESG ratings. Now, again, I'm the person who thinks that ESG is a load of crap. I think that companies that utilize it are just going after a score to get more credibility, but they don't actually even care. But Frank, I'm going to ask you, what do you think about that Ethereum is going to maybe be appealing to people who are concerned with ESG ratings more so than Bitcoin?
I don't know how much of an effect that's going to have really. In the long run, I would say that, I even see it trading, to be honest. When looking at Bitcoin versus Ethereum, like I was just showing you on my chart a few minutes ago, people seem to be more excited about Ethereum. And I spoke about this on Ben's stream the other day. I think people are starting to understand, even new investors are starting to see the higher potential just for the monetary gain off of Ethereum rather than Bitcoin. People call Bitcoin boomer coin. I see it in all the trading groups I'm in. And, every time I'm in my Discord, people calling Bitcoin boomer coin. I think that could have a big effect, especially in a bull market alone. Not even thinking about, people who don't even understand crypto, on a fundamental level, people who are just going to get in the bull market and just kind of buy, hoping for a gain. I think they're most likely like I hate to use the word dumb money, but like the very retail money, if you will, I think will flock to Ethereum simply for the fact that more people are astute to the idea of the smaller market cap coins getting a bigger gain. So I think people are going to see a really good risk to reward with Ethereum. And, they're going to see that as, I can get, if Bitcoin goes to 100K, right, from here, we get like a 5X maybe, right? And then they're going to look at Ethereum and they're going to kind of do the same math. And they're going to realize the potential is much higher, or at least a little bit higher with Ethereum and the other altcoins. So I think Ethereum is going to be more attractive just because of that alone, without even taking any of the actual fundamental things into account.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting case. I think you're absolutely hitting it on the head when it comes to retail investors. I literally have a friend that made that exact same argument here about a year and some change ago. He said, I had $2,000 to invest, and he didn't fully understand. And again, we talked about this a little bit yesterday. We got to, when noobs start coming back into crypto YouTube, which, gosh, views drop. There's not a lot of noobs here. I'm so grateful for everyone who's watching. You guys are the real troopers. But anyway, we'll have to explain to people once again why the price of one Ethereum will never be the price of one Bitcoin unless Bitcoin just completely dies and starts heading down. But his thought was, well, if Bitcoin currently, I think at the time when he purchased, was worth 30,000 and Ethereum was worth I think 1,500 or something like that. I can't remember the exact prices, but his thought was, well, if I buy one Ethereum, I'll make way more money if it goes to 100,000 than if I buy one Bitcoin and go to 100,000. And it's like, your rationale is a little off. I understand you that, yes, smaller cap altcoins, like if $1 billion gets invested into Bitcoin and $1 billion into Ethereum, you'll make more money on Ethereum because it's a smaller cap coin. Of course, we're talking about the flippening, in which case that will change. Of course, if Ethereum passes Bitcoin, then all of a sudden $1 billion goes way farther in a Bitcoin investment than it does in Ethereum. But that's for something down the road. I do want to kind of change while I still got you here, though. Let's talk about the other one that's flashing bullish. And there's something, go to my screen really quickly. I want to hear what Frankie has to say about this. I'm going to show him my chart and then get his take with market cipher and other things. Cardano is the other one flashing bullish. Now, someone might be wondering, Tim, what do you mean? It's got a red candle currently on the 4-hourly chart. I believe the daily chart is red as well. But Cardano, when we're looking at these larger cap altcoins, and I realize that's funny, but we're talking about top 10, top 20 coins, is one of the only ones that just flipped its lower low. What I mean by that, real quickly, I'll show you guys. Bitcoin is setting lower lows and lower highs. Sorry, I meant high. It's setting lower highs and lower lows. Ethereum, even though it is rallying currently, still is not above the high that we had back here on the 26th of August, 25th of August, around 1720. Now, I know you talked about here just a second ago, you have a 1740 put on your chart, but that's stinking close. Could we see rejection there and Ethereum not set that higher high? We'll have to keep our eyes there. Cardano, on the other hand, with this rally, not only has flipped that high, that lower high that it set back on the 26th of August. It actually came down and tested it using it for support, and potentially we're heading there again. To me, that is a very bullish sign on Cardano, as well as some other things. Of course, their update that's coming here very soon is a fundamental update that should bring more attention to Cardano. What are your thoughts, Frankie, about Cardano's future? Obviously, it doesn't have the supply getting cut the way that Ethereum's is. However, its use case and its adoption should flow pretty well. Like, I think its demand is going to rise. What are your future outlooks on Cardano, and what are you telling your community?
Yeah, Tim, I could not agree. I could not agree more. Let me share my screen real quick. Hopefully you guys can see that. Yeah, listen, I love Cardano as a project. Use case, obviously, very important. We saw this with the Cardano NFTs, right? I always tell my community, I'm always looking at the charts, I'm always trading, but I only have so much mental shelf space, right? So I never really, dove that deep into NFTs just because I choose to focus my attention on the charts and trading. That's just what I prefer. It's what I enjoy. It's what I have fun doing. But I was very, I didn't dive too deep into NFTs, in this past bull cycle. But I did dip my feet in with the Ethereum NFTs, right? And now I've been, with the NFT people at our office, I talk to them all the time. And if you've ever, used Ethereum NFTs and moved to Cardano NFTs, you will understand how quick and cheap Cardano is compared to Ethereum, obviously, as a lot of other things are. But this is something that I've actually felt the benefit of this use case. So I love Cardano as a project. And just looking at the charts, when we originally had that, Ethereum originally go on that get bounce and get that little relief rally, as Bitcoin did as well, kind of didn't really pop as much as Ethereum. Kind of pointing back to Ethereum leading the markets. And Cardano was kind of doing the same thing as Bitcoin, where we kind of never got out of this range here, as you can see, right? We came down here, we hit our low, and then we just kind of been ranging sideways, where Ethereum actually made a move up, and Cardano never did that, very similar to Bitcoin. So I was telling people to keep an eye on Cardano for a potential move up, but fundamentally, obviously a very strong project. Looking at Market Cipher right now, you do have the VWAP on the daily curving down, so it doesn't mean we're going to come down to go down to Goblin Town or anything, but maybe cool off a little bit. But some key levels I would be watching, in somewhat close to us right now is we do have a value area high here at about 54 cents. So that would be a level. I'll go ahead and put I'm going to put a line there right now. So yeah, this value area high at about 54 cents would be a level that I would like to watch. And once we got above there, 63 cents would be the next main level I'm watching. And if you go ahead and turn on the VPVR here, you could see once we break this level at about 63 cents, I want you guys to notice that obviously we have a little spike in volume here. Obviously, we have a giant spike in volume here. But I want you guys to notice this big dip in volume. Now, I'm just going to bring this all the way around and kind of circle this, right? Oh, disappeared. But yeah, you have the spike in volume and then a big void in volume right here. As you can see, we don't have any spikes in volume. So a lot of times this makes for a pretty quick move down or up, right? Because there's just nothing in here to hold you up or down. So if we could flip this value area high at 54 cents and flip this and get up to this 63 cent area, if we can break this 63 cent area, I think this is where Cardano could potentially get a pretty fast move up to about 80 cents. And like I said, I do think it would be a pretty fast movement just based off of the very little volume we have in this area right here. And then you do have, there's even not that much volume up here, all the way up to about $1.05, right? You could see there's not really that many high volume nodes up here. They're all very small, as opposed to down here, you have all this volume down here. And then over here, you just don't have that much. So if we break that, I would say 63 cents, 64 cents, that's the main level I'm watching. If we could break out of there, I think Cardano can go on a pretty decent run.
Wow, that is good stuff. I mean, it's funny. Those are the exact same levels we've been looking at here on our channel for a while now. And it's one of those things, just to remind everybody, why are those levels good? Why is that VRVP that he's using, that volume profile, so useful? Is because, again, remember, when you're doing technical analysis, there's nothing that promises just because a chart says something that's going to happen. But what you're doing is you're reading the psychology of other traders. And the significance in that gap he's talking about, where there's just no volume, is no one ever traded anything significantly in that space. So when we're looking at people who might have take profit levels, or they might have their levels where they're going to put that as their spot, they want to exit their short positions. If we can get up to that spot, there's going to be a lot of resistance there. But if we break through it, there's just nothing. There's no psychology saying a trader respects anything in that low range until we get up to a new point. So in case anyone was lost with the reasoning that Frankie was using there, that's kind of the thought that technical analysts use. You know, Frankie, before I let you go, first of all, this has been amazing. We're definitely getting you on again very soon. Let me get a complete wrap up from you. What do you think about the overall market at this point? Of course, this is the question that people have been asking for months now, and more than likely we're going to be asking for the next couple. Do you think the bottom is in on Bitcoin? Do you think that we have to go a little lower? And what do you think that price would be? Or is the bottom already in?
This is what I was prepared for, Tim. Here we go. But yeah, I also do want to say, man, thank you for having me on. I absolutely love coming on this show, and I love what you guys are doing with it. I love the new backgrounds. I love the new branding. It looks awesome. You guys are crushing it.
Oh, thanks, man.
So always happy to come on. But I have been prepared for this question. So let me kind of break down real quick before I actually even show a chart here. I will say I want to go back and just say that I am cautiously pessimistic, right? Just like you could be cautiously optimistic, I am essentially bearish, but I'm being very careful, right? My bias leans bearish. We're in a bear market, right? And I'm going to show you some specific things on the charts that are making me feel bearish, but you don't want to just get caught up in your bias. I talk about this all the time on my channel. You don't want to be that last bear, right? Everybody's calling for lower lows right now. It's giving me a little bit of PTSD from when everybody was calling for 100K. And there's also some technical reasons I'll show you real quick in a second of why I do think the bottom could potentially be in. Now, I'm not calling the bottom 100%, but one thing I do want to let everyone know is everyone's calling for lower lows, and you just want to remember that there is a possibility, and it's a very valid possibility with actual technical evidence backing it up, that the bottom is already in. But that doesn't mean that it has to be in and that's it. It's 100%. There's no way we're going down, because we do have a lot of macro factors at play here, obviously. And you also want to remember September or Rectember tends to be a bad month for crypto. So with that being said, I am leaning a little bit bearish, but I'm being very cautious. And let me just share my screen real quick to show you guys exactly what I'm talking about. So looking at the Bitcoin chart, right, on the weekly, we did confirm this very, very bearish signal right here on Market Cipher A, and that is a yellow X on the weekly time frame. Now, this is pretty bearish in my opinion. Now, you guys will know we did have a blood diamond all the way up here. Saw this coming. And we got wrecked. We got wrecked online. Like, people were absolutely roasting us for bringing this up. Oh, you can't just listen to Market Cipher. But this has never happened. We never had this blood diamond. We called it, right? Or we didn't call it, but we brought it up on our stream. And we get, you get a little pump the next day, and people are like, what happened to the weekly blood diamond? We're like, it takes time, right? And then obviously over time, this thing played out insanely, and we shorted this thing all the way down. But now we're kind of faced with a similar problem here with this yellow X on the weekly. Now, doesn't mean that's it. We're going to zero, short the thing all the way down, but you don't want to ignore this. This could be very, very strong. And although this has never happened on the weekly chart, it has happened on the 7-day chart before. I'll save you guys the time. But on the 7-day chart, they have played out to the tune of about 41%. If we see this play out, and this brings us down another 41%, this is going to bring us right into this purple box, which coincidentally is some good technical support right here between about 14 and 12K, which if we do make lower lows, I think that's likely where we will end up, is between 14 and 12K. We have it's right here. You do have some technical support from our 2019 little fake out bull run. You also have some technical support here. So there's decent support down here. I do think that's probably the next likely stop if we make lower lows, right? So one thing that's making me worried is that yellow X on the weekly. You don't want to bet your whole farm on it, but it's definitely there, and you don't want to forget about it. Another thing you want to look at is the 6-day. As far as Market Cipher, because I don't think you guys use Market Cipher, so I'll kind of give the people what they might not be used to seeing. But On Market Cypher here, 6-day blood diamond is printing on the SPY. This is a pretty bearish signal. I don't know if it's ever, yeah. So you had one down here. This one actually happened to bring you down. It doesn't mean that it has to bring you down. This one brought you down about 18%. It doesn't mean it has to bring you down 18%, but it is definitely a bearish sign, and you don't want to ignore it. So 6-day blood diamond on the SPY, because it is important to, in my opinion, look at other things other than crypto to kind of tell you the whole story. So this 6-day blood diamond does have me feeling pretty bearish. However, we are at very strong support. And then back to Bitcoin real quick, right? Weekly yellow X on the shorter term time frames. You want to we do have a 4-hour confirmed blood diamond. Now, sometimes these take time to play out as well, right? So with our VWAP coming down here, looking to print a red dot very soon, and our money flow on the lower time frames also coming out, I do think we could come down a bit. So long now, the reason I say you want to be cautious here is because we have come down to extremely strong support, and I'll wrap this up in about 30 seconds here, but I do just want to bring up a chart that I made here. This is a chart that basically looks at all the cycles, all the halvings, all the bottoms. I'm not going to get into it, but one thing I want to say is we are sitting almost exactly on our 2017 all-time high. You can see the white line right here. My original prediction for the bottom was mid to low 20s with a possible panic wick to 18K. We came down to the mid to low 20s, and now we've panic wicked down to about 17.5. Pretty close. And now we are currently holding candles, holding weekly candles on top of this 2017 all-time high. So we would have to break this previous all-time high, which has never really happened in the past. So, this being such a strong level of support, it would make a lot of sense to bottom out here. But with that being said, all we need is some black swan. As you guys know, the macro is very unstable right now. So all it takes is one black swan to get those lower lows. So I'm prepared in either direction. Like I said, I'll leave you guys with this for some real strong levels to look at to kind of try to figure out if you're going to get those lower lows or not. One main level I am looking at is going to be this value area low at about 18,825. If we lose this level, I'm starting to worry. And then our last line of defense, in my opinion, is going to be the 786. Let me pull up the weekly, and I'll just pull it here. The 786 Fibonacci level coming in. If you pull it from the all-time low of 2018 and you drag it all the way to the all-time high, let me just bring up the 786, and that 786 comes in at about 17,240. That is the last line of defense I am watching. So if we lose our value area high, lost myself a little there. If we lose this value area low, at about 18,825, I will be looking down to the 786. If we lose this 786, I think, in my own personal opinion, it is likely that we could come down to that range between 14 and 12K. But just remember, we've come down quite a bit here. Everybody's calling for lower lows. Again, it gives me a little bit of PTSD from when everybody was calling for 100K. So it doesn't mean it can't happen. But there you go. There's some specific levels you guys can watch. Again, if we lose that value area low or that 786 fib level, I'm starting to worry, and I think it's likely that we will make lower lows. However, I do have a video on my channel if you guys want to check it out, kind of arguing that the bottom could potentially be in. And I will say there is a lot of evidence that points to the bottom already being in. So yeah, maybe looking for a double bottom or something like that. If we come to those lows into that 17.5 range, I would be very cautious of a double bottom. Because I think everyone's going to be expecting that lower low, and then you might not just get it. The ship's going to take off without you, and you're going to wind up buying on the way up rather than just dollar cost averaging on the way down. Boom.
Well, Frankie, thank you so much for joining us today. And again, we're going to get you on here again really soon. Love getting to hear your take. Have a good day, my friend.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you for having me on. Take it easy.
That's good stuff. I love how he says cautiously pessimistic, meaning more than likely we are going down, but there's so many things that can happen. And that just continues that narrative that everyone needs to remember in case you ever attach yourself. I mean, if you ever hear anything that I say or TShroom says or Frankie says or Gareth Soloway or Ben or, just remember there is nobody out there who knows with 100% certainty where the bottom will be, when it will happen. we all have our educated thoughts and our reasons, and we're going to give you the whys, but every single one of you, when you're investing, needs to make sure you do your research, listen to a plethora of opinions and reasons why and evidence, and then you got to make that decision for yourself, because we won't know until it actually happens. Once we actually finally hit the bottom and start going back up, and I was talking to people in office hours this morning about this. Realistically, you go to my screen here real quick, Smay. I don't think that any of us will be able to say with any type of confidence that the bear market is over until we go above 32. Nope, that's on the wrong chart. Sorry, going out to the daily chart. Going above 32, about 32,300 or so, which is where we peaked out back during this little rally back in May. Even then, there is a chance for a little bit of a fake out, but the reason for that is we are in a bear market. We are in a downtrend, a primary downtrend, where ever since November, we're setting lower highs and lower lows. That was the last significant high. Even this one right here, unless we drop below 17,600 first, the level to beat at this point is 32.3. We're so far away from it. That's why I still have my, I'm going to agree with Frankie on this one, my cautious pessimism about Bitcoin. With that said, we're going to transition now into some of the discussion, just TShroom, Smay, and myself about Ethereum. We get to take into account what Frankie was saying about Ethereum and Cardano. What is your take? I'm going to start with you, TShroom. What is your take about what these next couple of weeks looks like? Will this be a sell the news, or what we're seeing on the charts, what we're knowing about the fundamentals? Will we potentially see both of these projects go in opposite direction of Bitcoin? And while Bitcoin potentially begins to fall again, these coins go up.
Man, there's so many variables going on. It's really anybody's say. But in my opinion, I think crypto holds. I think Bitcoin and Ethereum hold here. Cardano the same. I mean, Cardano hasn't really released a specific date, right? Or did they?
The 22nd.
The 22nd. That is right. Yeah, he came out and said 22nd. So, I mean, so that comes out after the Fed decision on the 21st. That Fed decision could potentially the way that the decision is almost certainly going to be 75 basis points or 50. Mm-hmm. There's been no talk of 100. So it's more than likely 75, which, I mean, if you look at the SPY right now, if you look at the stock market, it's pricing that in right now. It's breaking lower, and it's broken a major level of support. It has come back into that support, but we're talking about crypto here. Let me stay focused, my stock brain. Yeah, I think it's really anybody's say, but I do think that crypto holds here. And that's just because there's so much hope in the merge and the Basel hard fork. I think Bitcoin could potentially be a casualty of this, of September. And, I'm talking by casualty, I mean maybe a 5-7% drop, just because it doesn't have that merge story. It doesn't have that hard fork story going for it. And that's kind of obvious, you might be thinking, but that's kind of my take. So I think crypto holds. I think the rest of the equity market sells off because maybe they were holding out hope that there was going to be a 50 basis point hike. But if there's a 50 basis point hike, right, that's a whole nother scenario. And I think that September may be one of the most bullish months that we've seen all year, potentially. So if that happens, that because that not only is great for that month, but it also signals a reversal, right, in the policy. And but it all really kind of comes down. We'll get an early inkling on the 13th when that inflation number prints, and we can see if it's a really fantastic inflation number. If it's like 6%, if it comes down, that could potentially sway Jerome to feel like, okay, inflation has peaked here. We've done our job. The dragon is fleeing. It's not dead, but it's fleeing, and it's going away, and it's no longer a threat. And so we can kind of put down our arrows and we can kind of rest easy, let the stock market heal, let equities and crypto heal. And, that's kind of one way to look at it. But, I doubt we're going to get 50.
There is something that Mark Yusko said last week when he was on our show. He said that as men, a lot of times we don't see something unless it's moving. He talked about going to the refrigerator, and his wife said, grab the ketchup. And he looks in there, he's like, honey, I don't see any. And she walks over and just grabs it. Go to my screen here real quick, Smay. This is what he's talking about. That analogy compares this. Look at Bitcoin. I'm on the 4-hourly chart, but in all reality, Bitcoin is not moving. And that's something that, Frankie talked about a little bit with that cautious pessimism. But every single day that Bitcoin stays boring like this, there are times where I would almost make an argument that's good. Right now, I think that's an argument to say bad, because what's happening, I think you're seeing the sentiment and the attention switch into some of these altcoins. For example, Ethereum has been climbing in that same timeline. Cardano has been climbing. We're talking about these two projects because, first of all, remember, let's just settle down on Cardano. And people are always like, oh, there was Tim talking about Cardano again. Guys, I like Cardano. I like the project. I like what they're doing. I like what the fundamentals look like for the future. But remember, Cardano was one of the first to start falling. Well, Cardano took a really hard crash here in May. So did the other projects. But as we begin to get excited about the Vassal hard fork, because we knew this was going to be the biggest upgrade that Cardano has ever seen, we began to have some excitement. And then it got announced that it was going to have to delay. So it came down, but it did not fall anywhere near as far as what we saw with Ethereum and Bitcoin. Again, when you're looking at these same dates, if I were to show you guys those dates, let's go back to May. Remember I said May 11th is right here on Ethereum. Then we had this crash that happened in June. Bitcoin did the exact same thing. Cardano just went back down to almost the exact same low and began its rally. And it started getting boring and sideways. And then when Ethereum got really exciting because of the hype that was coming with the announcement of ETH 2.0, Cardano just kind of went up, but it just stayed kind of boring. I think that it's Cardano's turn for a hype cycle. And we're talking about demand coming into the space as we grow closer and closer to that Vassal hard fork official release on the 22nd. I think that you're going to see this very strong Cardano community begin to buy up more. I think you're going to see some companies come in and start to use Cardano for their projects. I think you're going to see adoption come into the space, and the demand will increase. Therefore, the price will increase. With Ethereum, again, as I discussed with Frankie, in case you didn't watch the Frankie section, we're talking about a completely different thing. I don't think demand is going to increase on Ethereum. I don't think that I think the demand of Ethereum is going to follow that of Bitcoin. And as we just talked about, with Bitcoin being so boring and so down and with attention going to other projects, I have an inkling that we're actually going to see Bitcoin demand start to drop off. And at first, I think you're going to see Ethereum do the exact same thing. The only difference is now we're talking about fundamentals and a cut of supply. And I don't think the demand can drop fast enough to keep up with how fast the supply is dropping. And therefore, what does that equal? A price increase. Well, what happens when a price begins to move drastically? More eyes come to it and more people get attentive to it. So what I'm going to be interested to watch is when the price starts to climb and I see volume come in, and then we look at on-chain metrics and see a bunch of retails get back in. That's when I think Ethereum could potentially cool off, because that'll be a good time for some of the whales that know what's happening to take some profit and then begin to buy again as Ethereum begins to climb. I'm watching these two projects, Cardano and Ethereum, and there are lots of other interesting ones to keep your eyes on. I'm really interested in watching XRP as we get closer. Again, we don't have a date on this one yet, but as we get closer to seeing an end to that lawsuit with the
SEC?
The SEC. Yeah, sorry. There's so many names in the government now. The SEC, I think there's other projects to keep an eye on, but the ones that I'm really, really excited about, and I think the masses are really excited about, are these two projects, Cardano and Ethereum, because of these massive upgrades that we'll be seeing here within the next 2 weeks. Keep your eyes there. I'm not saying go buy it right now. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying go do your research and keep your eyes on what's happening here. Like, literally have things set up, have triggers set up to give you alarms, have news constantly coming to your phone. Like, there are ways to get your phone or your email to get all updates and news with Ethereum and Cardano, because I think that the next couple of weeks are going to be very exciting for those two projects. And unfortunately, I have this feeling, again, this cautious pessimism, as Frankie puts it, that Bitcoin's going to go in the opposite direction. We'll talk about all this a lot more in future videos, but I wanted to give you guys our take, let you guys chew on that, marinate on it, come up with your own conclusions about Ethereum and Cardano. And with that said, we're going to transition now. Smay, was there anything in chat? I don't think we had any super chats, unless I'm wrong, but was there anything in chat that you saw that you thought was really interesting that we can discuss even further?
I mean, I see... I didn't see anything that really stood out to me. I mean, I think a lot of people have been just engaging with what you guys have been talking about. They love Frankie.
Yeah.
So shout out to Frankie. We love Frankie.
Yeah, we didn't even say it. Make sure you guys go follow Frankie. Frankie Candles. Is his link in the description? If not, we can add it afterwards.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I think, yes, links in the description. Go follow him. Great guy. I love Frankie, first of all. Like, I every time I got to interact with him, he's another guy that I just feel like is just good people. He loves you guys. He wants to see people succeed. He's honest. He's going to give you his opinion, but as he said, I think he said it on the call, he's like, yeah, I've been wrong. I'm not perfect. And we need more people like Frankie. So go follow Frankie. And if you haven't subscribed here, subscribe here as well, because we both have some great content. I'm going to be going on his show more. He's going to continue to come on our show. He's great. Great stuff. Yes. Guess what? I see, Crypto Vet's been in chat a lot today. Shout out to Crypto Vet, who will be here Thursday, right? I think, yeah. So here in 2 days, Harry's going to be on the channel as well. Can't wait for that because there is something really exciting. Those of you guys who know, and you've spent a lot of time with Harry, Harry does his best. This is a family show. We try to keep it clean. Harry just speaks very passionately, and sometimes passion comes out with the language of sailors. So we're going to participate in the drinking game, not alcohol. Can't control what you do at home. We're going to have coffee or water. I'm excited on Thursday. That's going to be fun to get to hear some great takes from Harry and potentially take many a sips of coffee and water along that show.
The language of sailors.
The language of, I was,
with a high,
gotta be special with it,
and a high, hey.
He just starts talking, "Hi, me mateys! I speak in the language of sailors.
These are choppy waters in the crypto market.
Goodness gracious.
Dear Neptune, these prices are great for buying." All right, I'm done.
Well, I'll tell you what, guys. I think that's going to wrap it up for today's show. Make sure every single day, though, you tune in just like this. I'm excited tomorrow. I told you guys Harry's coming on Thursday, but tomorrow it's Wednesday, and from here on out, Wednesday means it's Caleb Franzen Day. You don't want to miss it.
I love Caleb.
We love Caleb Franzen. There's a reason why we bring these guests on. We don't bring people on we don't love. So if you see someone on this channel, it's because they are ridiculously intelligent, ridiculously smart, ridiculously awesome, and we love them so much. So make sure you tune in tomorrow for Caleb, Thursday for old Harry, the Crypto Vet. With that being said, though, that is all I have for you in today's show, but I will see you in the next one. Peace.
Oh, I got a real good feeling.